Hey, good morning, everybody. Paul Odell here from CPP. We're here for a conversation with CPP this morning. Thanks for coming back to us after a month here. Lots of exciting things happening in the marketplace. We have two absolutely dynamic speakers here today with us, and Matt from HPE and Mike from CPP. Before we dive into what we're going to talk about, maybe Matt and Mike can introduce themselves. Matt.
Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Axtell. I'm part of the HPE Hybrid IT Strategic Pursuits team. Most of you would probably know that better as the GreenLake team. So I'm a member of the GreenLake New Business Development team.
Sure. And good morning, everybody. My name is Mike Maher. I am Director of Services for CPP, and I am responsible for bringing the message of GreenLake to people for CPP, among other things.
Thanks, Matt and Mike. So we're going to talk about white hot topics today, right? Just super sizzling hot, en fuego, right? So the first thing is absolutely. You got me to go beyond Spanish. I can't go any further, guys. I mean, I'm married to a Spaniard, but don't ask me to talk Spanish. I'm in trouble. That's it. But the first thing we want to talk about is GreenLake. It is en fuego. So Matt, what are you seeing, within the GreenLake universe? How is it sort of intersecting with AI and all that business that's also hot? I know we've had a lot of discussions over the years about this, and always eager to hear your perspective and what's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, right? The first thing I would say, with the intersection of AI, conversations around what we used to be calling bimodal. I think we've talked about this a lot, just typical hybrid cloud. I have traditional data centers and public cloud. How can GreenLake help me run workloads either in mode 1, systems of record, mode 2, systems of engagement? Now we're seeing AI and data conversations really take the forefront. How do I have a data fabric connecting data living across my entire hybrid IT estate? And how can I access that single namespace globally and bring power to my data without having to transfer it into a public cloud or move it from where it was created? So that's what I'm seeing, the intersection of hybrid cloud and now AI bringing systems of intelligence. It's really changing the game for customers who want to make sure they're on the AI ML bandwagon.
Matt, is systems of intelligence, would you call that mode 3?
Absolutely. So I'm not the first to coin the phrase,
right.
But yeah, mode 1, systems of record, mode 2, the cloud, systems of engagement, where you want to have your applications and backbone of the internet, distributed applications. Now you're balancing those two dichotomies with the third, systems of intelligence and data fabric living from edge to core to cloud. Another fascinating problem for our brothers and sisters in IT to help solve.
Definitely. How would you say HPE is addressing that, right? What are you feeling? What are you seeing?
Great question. I would say we bring a set of tools and investments that can help do several things. One, it can help unite your public and private deployments of infrastructure. That's kind of mode 1, mode 2. How do I have a single set of tools that are going to enable me to build a hybrid cloud operating model, controlling what I need on-premise in traditional deployments and in the public cloud? Now we're seeing this intersection with way more. We need to provide that platform that can give a level of integrations across their entire estate. This is where our acquisition of OpsRamp was so important to what we're building. OpsRamp being included in GreenLake opportunities gives our customer a tool that can really help them unite their entire spectrum, their apps, their storage, whether it's HPE or not, their virtual machines on any hypervisor, their cloud native applications in any deployments, their different network tools, their single sign-ons, their ITSM deployments. It doesn't matter. We can walk into any environment and be a self-leveling cement and give them the tools necessary to get a tri-modal approach to their technology deployments.
It's definitely really interesting. How about like large language models? Have you seen, I mean, you can't walk across the street without getting hit by somebody trying to do large language model, right?
Yeah. Yeah, as you know, this is a very interesting topic for Hewlett Packard Enterprise because it's the first use case that our customers has asked us for a multi-tenant platform, which is not something I actually foresaw us getting into, right? We thought the hyperscalers would be handling all multi-tenancy. We would be providing cloud adjacency and hybrid workloads in private cloud. But in this case, our customers came to us and said, it would be great to be able to run on your platform for a given period of time and then not have to worry about it again. So our GreenLake for large language models has really changed the game for us and gotten us into the space of providing a platform for you to run your models and bring AI ML to you, to anyone.
Yeah, because that was sort of a given that the public cloud providers would have that, right? So
there is no crystal ball, Paul.
Right? No, I know.
Again,
well, maybe
if you were living,
chime that up.
But if you were living in a world that was strictly bimodal, and you said, "Am I going to run my large language models and my traditional IT deployments, my systems of record, or my public cloud?" The answer would be obvious. Of course, you're going to do that in the public cloud, right? The answer is not so fast. It's not always the right choice to push all your data and build a data lake in someone else's control. So
I just provide
that freedom.
What's nice about it, Paul, is that HPE has taken that binary choice, right? Something that was historically very, very black and white, right? And said, no, we're gonna do two things. We're gonna add some gray, and then we're gonna start to color outside the lines. And it's really, I mean, HP is really going to be the fourth cloud, right? I mean, there's that level of competition, right? We can talk about that next when we get to the other stuff.
It's really interesting. I'll say one last thing, and then maybe we'll dovetail in the next topic. I was with a client yesterday that they started using AWS. They were spending $50 a month 5 years ago. They're spending $400,000 a month now.
A little bit of growth.
And I'm like, how optimized? He's like, Paul, it's so out of control. It's like a dark universe that I can't even get my arms around. I mean, and I said, listen, I mean, I'm not saying that all of that is wasted. It's probably great in things happening there, but those great things could be happening more effectively. All you should really care about is what's best for your business. And that's usually a combination of both, right? And I think we're advocating for hybrid, right? Typically. I think we're going to start seeing more and more of people coming to the realization that $400,000 a month can buy a lot of things, and the management of those things. So speaking of, just to sort of shift slightly. Mike, I know that we've been like another white hot topic, and I'm sure Matt will be able to chime in here as well, is Azure Stack. Like our pipeline as a company, every single customer that we have is interested in doing a paid pilot with Azure Stack.
Yep.
So why?
Well, I mean, a couple things. First of all, your $400,000 a month customer, right? I wasn't kidding when I said Ferrari. I mean, there is everybody has the ability to go out and buy whatever car they want. Well, not everybody, but let's say they do, right? If you're just trying to get from A to B, do you need a Ferrari? I mean, if you want to get there as fast as humanly possible, sure, why not? But if you just need to get there and you need to get there in an organized, orchestrated fashion, right? A Chevy's going to work just fine. A Toyota's going to work just fine. And people are overpaying, which is precisely why Azure Stack really is, becoming not only a viable play, right, but the play, right? That coupled with, Broadcom's continued lack of clarity around VMware and what they're going to be doing with it. And I read the articles recently, and their CEO said, hey, things are going swimmingly and blah, 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 blah. But I don't see how. Every customer that we're talking to right now wants to get off of everybody wants to get off of VMware, right? Because they're terrified They're terrified of what the pricing is going to look like, of how much shelfware they're going to end up with, et cetera. And I'm not trying to turn this into an indictment against VMware. I'm really not, right? But it is, but the VMware, acquisition and Azure Stack on HPE, through GreenLake, right, really are the springboards and catalysts to move customers forward, and those are the drivers of these discussions, right? The compelling event is, oh my God, our pricing is going to go up. How are we going to do this? The driver post compelling event is going to be, how do we live in this hybrid world? How do we bring in technologies that we want in a consumption-based model that keeps pace with public cloud development and, resource delivery, but gives us full control over the infrastructure. And that really is Azure Stack. And that is why,
like peanut butter and jelly and the good jelly.
It is. It's exactly what it is. Because what you know is, Microsoft has done a really good job of, bringing Azure on-prem.
I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich this morning, so it was top of mind. But anyway,
that's a way to start. You asked me if that's what I was eating earlier.
It's on my mind.
In the morning?
Azure,
this morning, brother.
Oh, listen, Microsoft's done a really good job of.
I'm sorry, Mike. I just threw you off.
It's fine. I can keep going. I mean, I know what I want to say. It's totally fine. It was still a power bar, by the way. But listen. Microsoft did a really good job of bringing all of the technology, not all, but I mean, a lot of the technologies that you can do, in the public cloud down to Azure, right? VMs, containers, files, database, right? Those are AVD. These are core business technologies, right? That you can run, with little cost increase, right? In a consumption-based model, and you can switch out your workload, whenever you want, and you can migrate to and from, right, on the same platform. You can manage everything through the exact same interface if you want, and it becomes that much easier to deliver infrastructure. But most importantly, right, and getting back to Matt's point, right, and getting back to your point, which is, customers spending too much and moving too quickly, right? Upfront, one of the ways that we differentiate ourselves, one of the ways that we work best with HPE on is, we can establish a technology foundation, no problem, right? But what customers are missing and why things are running out of control is because they don't have governance, right? And in shifting to cloud native architecture and shifting to a consumption-based model, right, governance really becomes a primary focus. So as technologists and business people, we need to keep that at the forefront. A lot of partners out there are going to say, hey, how many VMs do you want to move? We're going to say, hold on,
shift, baby. Yep.
Yeah. And we're going to say, stop.
So stupid.
It's dumb because you are spending the money.
It's dumb.
First
unless your data center is going to explode in 5 minutes, you don't want to lift it.
And we've had a scenario where that's happened, right? We're going back through and we're terraforming out, somebody who had to do a lift and shift, right? Because they were forced to, because
there was a real reason, right?
But if we have to up front, right, that same customer, right, that where they, prior to that, right, we were able to re-architect infrastructure for them in a way that delivered governance first, which allowed them to control their spend, control application architecture, right, which delivered lifecycle information, which is leading them down the road to LLM and another AI-based infrastructure in a controlled spend and a controlled growth fashion. It's exciting, and if we can build the foundation first properly, right, we can help any business grow.
That's awesome, Mike. Thank you, Matt. Are you hearing? I mean, you're in more discussions than we're in. I mean, in a minute or two or less, what are you hearing regarding Azure Stack? I mean, is that coming up in your meetings?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can echo Michael's point, right? Clearly, Broadcom has triggered a mass event where clients are willing to take a look at their application stack and do the most difficult of the R's, right? You were saying, do I rehost? Do I replatform? Do I retire and buy SaaS? The one that they've been avoiding forever is refactor, right? Re-architect, rebuild the actual application, change things like the hypervisor at the virtualization layer, or move away from VMware Cloud Foundation because it's the most expensive VMware license in the world, right?
And you're all going to have to buy it. Knock.
Broadcom has triggered customers willing and wanting now to refactor their applications and move to things like Azure Stack, It doesn't have to be Azure Stack in our opinion, right? It could be a lot of different things. It could be OpenStack, or it could be some other mix of cloud native languages.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Many.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's driving platform conversations. And that's where GreenLake excels. Whether it's a GreenLake full stack private cloud enterprise, or one step down where we're not doing the self-service, it's a private cloud business edition, or if it's one of my favorite hottest solutions right now for Fed clients, we're doing GreenLake secure private cloud, completely disconnected platforms for our Fed clients, or it's an Azure Stack, right? It doesn't matter. Clients are demanding new platforms to run their fit for future business. And I guess we should all be thanking Broadcom for that.
Yeah, it's really been interesting. So thanks, guys. So to one last question, we'll wrap it up. This is a new feature, so we'll see what happens here. It's a new wrinkle to the series, as I'm wont to do. We're going to call it what's hot, what's not, right? So it doesn't have to be HPE related. It could be anything tech related. So what's hot, Mike?
Listen, every conversation that I'm having is either Azure Stack or security, right? Oftentimes it's both. And, for good reason. Customers don't want to get breached. They don't want to get attacked. They don't want to pay ransoms. They don't want to spend more money than they have to. They end up wanting to replatform out of, fear, desire, or both, right? So it's, it's going to be those two. Also, I would say networking right now, right, is really starting to pick up pace in terms of data center infrastructure, right? We're seeing new speeds, we're seeing some new technologies that people are really taking advantage of. And candidly, AI behind some of that technology is going to become really very, very important. And that's, I think, in part and parcel to, the acquisition of Juniper through HPE.
Interesting.
Not to plug that, but that's very obvious.
Plug away.
Yeah, plug away. It's interesting. Matt, how about you? Obviously we talked about a bunch of things that were hot. Anything outside of the realm of what we talked about?
I want to re-echo what we talked about. Every single enterprise is reevaluating their VMware relationship and trying to optimize and de-risk it. And a mix of Azure Stack and Hyper-V and Microsoft tools, as well as Nutanix and all of these other platforms like OpenShift. And there's a billion of them out there. Even if they stay on VMware, the idea of shifting the risk from owning those licenses directly to Broadcom to the turbulent OEM world, which has also been turned upside down, that's the dialogue. That is it. And that is leading conversations like replatforming. So
I think, so one of the things that I'm hearing, and I think it's going to get hot, right, is this concept of all in on SaaS platforms. Because just think about it. If a private equity firm buys Salesforce, what would be the difference between what Broadcom did with VMware and what could happen? I think you just really need to think about not being held hostage, right? And so I am having those types of discussions about, and I don't know where it's going to go, right? I think you need diversity in what you're doing in your company. It's risk mitigation. It shouldn't all be HPE. It shouldn't be all Azure. It shouldn't be all AWS. It shouldn't be all this, that, or the other thing. I think risk mitigation is hot.
I would say this, Paul. You have so many customers out there that are willing to park their information in a space that they don't control, right? And I want to be very clear, right? Like, you control the space in
really nuts.
You control the space in Azure Stack, you control the space in on-prem, right? You control that because you can remove it at any point in time, right? But to be fair, you don't control the platform in Azure. You don't control a SaaS platform, right? These are things that are beyond your control. And when we talk to customers about their data, about their IP, right? About securing that IP, right? SaaS platform, which I think is a step beyond Azure, right? Because Azure is just really a platform, right? A SaaS platform, you're willingly giving your data to other people at that point.
It's really interesting, right? It's not a stretch to think.
No, and there's
these SaaS platforms could raise their prices 10%, and what would you do?
There's always going to be an application out there, right? That and Matt's right. the one thing that you said that I wish I could have said that I didn't was de-risk, right? And it's so important to just take that down as much as you can, because cost is a risk, security is a risk, data management is a risk, data leakage is a risk. I mean, there's 1,000 different risks. So if customers don't have a risk mitigation platform in place, they need to start looking at that.
And, you need options. So all right, so guys, do we want to do what's not, or do we want to, do one or two words and just leave it, and then we'll end it?
You know what? I go first.
Good.
I mean, I said it before the call, right? I'm an information junkie, so I mean, what's not hot? I don't know. I would say, I'd like. I don't know. I read everything, so to me, it's sort of like one thing feeds another.
How about private equity? How about think about what that's doing in the marketplace?
You know what? They could take a beat. They could take a pause and stop interfering.
I mean, it's good if you're the founder. I get that, but it's really been disruptive, right? I mean, and
we still don't know what KKR is going to do with. Yeah, we still don't know what KKR is going to do with Horizon.
We have no idea. Look at what happened with Citrix, right? I mean, you're talking about mass ridiculousness going on.
Another driver to AVD, by the way.
Yep.
Right.
So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I would like to not hear. I'd like a week to not hear about private equity. Well, I think that would be good.
It's like throwing 52 card pickup every week, right? So So all right, guys, Matt, anything, or do we want to just leave?
I think I better say something. I'll say this. You asked, what conversation do you never want to have again? And from a GreenLake perspective and an HPE selfish perspective, it's the conversation saying, "Oh, I can't go GreenLake. I don't like operational expenditures." And I just need the market to realize that GreenLake is the one platform that gives the power of financial flexibility to the customer. So once they realize that they can have cloud-like experiences while still owning the asset single tenant and putting it on their capital, EBITDA, appropriate books and balance sheets, GreenLake becomes the only cloud option.
Right.
And the cloud can't do that. Public cloud, always going to hit you OpEx. Traditional IT purchases and glorified lease, always capital expenditures. GreenLake is the only platform that really allows you to do either. So I don't want to hear that as an excuse to not look at getting the benefits of cloud when you can truly have it hit your books either way. So that's what I hope I never have to have another
No more discussions about that nonsense. Let's get it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a positive for us, not a negative.
Well, listen, everybody, thank you. We have an event next week. I'll put it out there on Wednesday. Should be fun. The three of us will be talking next week. We're also going to have Mickey Hackett do a guest appearance to talk about Copilot. So Mickey is on my team. He's a Copilot expert. Anyway, it should be a lot of fun. It's at T-Squared. It's Wednesday night. If you're interested in coming, reach out. Matt and Mike, Eminem, baby. Eminem, thank you so much for joining us today. And I think we should do this again in a couple of months with a refreshed topic list.
Yeah, absolutely.
So nice and casual discussion. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. All right.
Bye, guys.